Welcome back, guys, to the Fantasy Golf Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Redkacheek, also go by Drew. And this week today's November 2nd. November 2nd of 2025. We'll be previewing the Worldwide Technology Championship down in Los Cabos, Mexico. Just kind of a mediocre course during the fall swing, nothing too crazy, but we are going to walk through everything we know about the golf course from the last 2 years they've played here and talk through some lead-in correlations. They did not have ShotLink either of the 2 years, but with lead-in correlations, that we don't need it. We know what players were doing prior to their event here, and we can get a good look at what kind of players we want to focus on this week. So we'll dive into that. We had a break last week, so we got a nice little run of events coming up. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up the schedule really quick. We got Worldwide Technology Championship. It's a mouthful. November 3rd, this week. Butterfield Bermuda Championship next week. The RSM Classic the following week. And then we are done. They got the Hero World Challenge, the Grant Thornton team competition in, was it Naples or Jupiter or something? And that's it. And that's also the same week as Q School, which is, I would highly recommend you guys tuning into whatever covers they do offer on the Golf Channel or wherever. The Q School, the drama, and what everything means for a lot of players in that event. It's a fun watch, especially on Sunday. You'll see guys like last year. Guy had, I want to say he had the lead, and he shot like 5 over on the front. So now instead of winning the thing, he's getting close to, I think it was like 10th place or 15th place, something like that. And he starts hitting irons off of par 5s off the tee just to like keep it in play and stop leaking oil. So again, as far as pressure goes, majors, etc., yeah, of course. But Q School for all these guys, so much is at stake. So I probably won't do a podcast to preview that event, but that is the second week of December. I would encourage you guys to check out Q School. I'm sure you've seen tweets on Twitter or X the last couple weeks with first stage and second stage. So it's a fun event to watch. All right. Worldwide Technology Championship. I also thought this was fun. We'll dive into this really quick. I didn't know what Worldwide Technology does, so I was just curious. I said, what even is Worldwide Technology and what do they do? Basically, they don't do anything. It was all generic consulting and strategy, engineering and implementation, advanced technology center, supply chain and reselling, special. It's like, if it's a Ponzi scheme, this is a pretty good one, or a shell company. So I went down to what is their biggest accomplishment or product, and this didn't help me anything either. It says WWT doesn't produce traditional products. Its crown jewel is the Advanced Technology Center, a state-of-the-art virtualized lab ecosystem spanning multiple global locations. They let people do collaboratively test, prototype, and validate cutting-edge solutions in AI, cloud, cybersecurity. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm sure this is a great company, but of a company that doesn't do anything, it just provides an ecosystem for testing across companies. Good for them. They're making $20 billion a year, supposedly. So founder David Stewart's net worth exceeds $10 billion. Even better for him. So thought that was interesting. We'll dive into El Cardonal Diamante. So Worldwide Technology Championship. Let's go ahead and jump into the course preview. So this week at El Cardonal, I'm going to try to stop attempting to speak in Spanish. I assume this is the Cardinal at the Diamond. It's my guess. I'm not going to look it up, except I am. Let's see what that says. And then I will stop attempting to speak Spanish. What does it mean? Translation, please. And there's none. Doesn't say, of course. Good stuff. Okay, we're just going to go with it. Cardinal at the Diamond. Last 5 winners, we only have 2. 2024, Austin Eckroat won at -24. The year prior, their inaugural championship at this venue, Eric Van Rooyen, -27. exceptional under par. Wind down here is a big deal. That's like the biggest defense. We'll look through some of like the stats that we do have for that event, but large and away, this golf course is as easy, or is possibly the easiest golf course they play all year. And it's a fall swing event. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be a weaker field, but all is to say, very, very easy, gettable, wide open golf course. Somewhat similar to what we saw 2 weeks ago. Might even be more wide open, to be honest, than the Black Desert Resort. But it's a par 72, 74, 52. So definitely kind of on the longer side. We got paspalum greens, fairways, rough. Paspalum through and through is extremely nice to play off of. If you've ever played any nice coastal courses, they usually have paspalum because it's can survive the salt water. Paspalum is perfect. Like it sits up like a mat. It's like you're playing a Top Golf. Average par 3, 187. Average par 4, 437. Average par 5, 580. Nothing there stands out to me as crazy. Average par 3, 187. Okay. Par 3, 437. Pretty reasonable, if not on the shorter side. And then average par 5 of 580 is up there. So we'll give it a little bit of credit that the par 5s add some to that yardage. All in all, like I just said, this is a 2.4 strokes under par field average. Hole 1, par 5 plays almost a full stroke, 3/4 of a stroke under par. 18th, the par 5 plays over a half shot under par. Everything else in here, there's a few tougher par 4s playing slightly over par, not crazy. Again, for the field, playing slightly over par. A lot of these are playing, a 10th of a shot to a 1/4 of a shot under par. Very, very gettable. A lot of birdies to be made here. We'll look at the lead-in stats here in just a second. I just want to highlight a couple of the traditional stats that we do have available. We do have driving distance. It's just not showing up here due to so what they did was they would measure like the typical thing. They would measure a couple drives per day so we could get the driving distance. So we do see like a driving profile, but the everything else for ShotLink was not available down here in Mexico for this event. Ironically, they brought it over to Japan and didn't work very well at all. And to Mexico, they can't do it. So is what it is. We'll see if they have it this year. I doubt it. But average cut line, 6.5 under par. Driving accuracy, 89%. 89% driving accuracy. Missed fairway penalty is pretty high, which makes sense. If you're missing fairways with a 90% driving accuracy, you should suffer a little bit at least. Let's see here. Green regulation percent, 78%, pretty high. Considering the distance is not really a big deal, but like the driving accuracy being that high, of course, 78% makes a lot of sense. Green regulation from the fairway, 81%. You can see the green regulation from the rough at 39%. So that's 90% driving accuracy. You could get guys that have been struggling off the tee. They can be able to hit fairways on a golf course like this. So again, if they just happen to be struggling a little bit this week, they're going to struggle. But otherwise, this is a wide open golf course. We shouldn't really be modeling anything from the rough anyways. But that is to be fair, green regulation from the rough is more difficult than a PGA Tour average. Birdie or better over 25%, which is great. Bogey or worse, 14%, nothing crazy. So as far as lead-in stats, like I said, you can see down here, we don't have driving buckets. We don't have approach buckets. We could do approach buckets based on the par 3s. Obviously, that's not enough. You got 4 per day as opposed to 18. So 4 versus 18, there's a lot lacking there in that sample size. So we don't have anything due to the ShotLink missing for this event. But we do have lead-in stats and what we know from those players coming into this event, those last 2 years, what stood out. So total strokes gained by far and away the best. So if you had one stat to look at this week, total strokes gained from the last 3 or 4 months would be number one by a good margin. You would look at that and think, I could literally just rank it. It's probably going to align pretty closely with odds. But if you want to go off one stat, total strokes gained over the last 3 to 4 months or 6 months, even if you want to go back further, is the safest, clearest path to success for this event. Pretty simple. Those who have been playing well, going to play well here against a weak field. Makes a lot of sense. A couple other stats that are kind of medium high, I guess. Bogey avoidance, which we've talked about kind of ad nauseum the last couple months. Birdie or better right there behind it. So again, goes into total strokes gained. Like I said, if you want to use one stat this week, it's probably a good way to do it. Strokes gained putting is interesting. It's number 4 on our list. And then strokes gained tee to green, and then a little drop off to the IQ stat and greener regulation. So, like I said, keep it simple. Just total strokes gained. You could go look at, buffering, bogey avoidance, and birdie or better, and get a kind of a lean into guys that have not been making a lot of bogeys and also been making, a few more birdies per round in the field. That's probably a really good collection to focus your attention on this week. But you can go through here on the Course Preview Pro and look through all these stats. Driving distance is way down, which is interesting being a longer golf course, but that's why we do the lead-in stats, because you could go to any of these events and say it's a long golf course and guys were hitting at 330. Well, could have been like, Matt Neesmith. He's not very long. He was hitting at 320. So what was the actual stats that he had that I could look to this year and go plug into the stat model and run with a player pool? So pretty balanced on the driver profile. It's leaning slightly towards accuracy over distance. All that really means is like there's no clear advantage to bombers, which is funny due to the driving accuracy, and obviously no clear advantage to just hitting it straight. So it's a balance. Guys that have been hitting it straight and not the longest do fine. Guys that are the longest and not the straightest are doing fine as well. So it's a nice balance between the two profiles. This is the last 2 winners. I won't spend too much time here. We'll just kind of glance at it. Tee to green, strokes gained tee to green was positive for both Eckroat and Van Rooyen. The rest is kind of a mixed bag. Approach was positive. Just the winners, obviously, top 10, top 20 is going to be a different story. But something to look at, as always, the average odds, or I should say the odds for each of them. Eckroat was 35-1 last year. Erik Van Rooyen was 69-1 in 2023. So a good place to have like a mid-price bet. And those guys are also doing okay strokes gained total, like we just kind of talked about, kind of tangent into odds. I'm sure if you go through like the leaderboard, there's some guys that probably were way down the board and had a semi decent chance, of a top 3 finish or a win. But, a mid price 35-1 to 75-1, they're going to have pretty good strokes gain numbers, and they kind of fit the bill here. Let's see. We got a couple guys. We'll actually go to the course form matrix. We'll do that actually. So let's go over to one of our free tools is the recent form course history. So a really easy way. This also includes strokes gained total. So you could go, who's the top, strokes gained total? Michael Brennan, because he just won. He had no other starts. Ben Griffin, JJ Spahn, Garrett Cago, Pearson Coody, Lanto Griffin, Rico Hoey, Stephen Fisk, Mac Hughes, Thorbenson, blah, blah, blah. Go down the list here. Puts a number, a strokes gained number to their finishes. So obviously these guys have had great finishes. It's just giving you a strokes gained total number relative to the field. We can also focus on the course history, which is this right here. Let me put them back together. And see, based on these finishes, who's actually had the best strokes gained at this golf course. So a lot of pretty good finishes, honestly. You have Carson Young finished 9th in a second. He's at plus 2.78. Max Grieserman finished 4th last year. He's leading the way. Joe Highsmith, Austin Eckroat, Justin Lauer, Andrew Putnam, Garrett Cago. So you could go do let's do a greater than 1 for recent form. You can do a greater than 1. You would think it begins with 1, greater than 1, and that's not a number. Perfect. So basically this would be guys that carry over. We can still sort it. It works fine. Grieserman, Higo, Hughes, Matt Kuchar, believe it or not, Brant Snedeker, Ben Griffin, Stefan Jaeger, Rico Hoey, and JJ Spawn. So those guys are all gaining over a stroke per round over the last 5 events, and also gaining positive on this golf course the last 2 years. So a nice short list there. Let's jump into the weather IQ really quickly. We get a look ahead to Thursday. A little bit windy in the AM and later in the PM. So we'll just kind of monitor that up until Wednesday night. But just keep a lookout. Like I said, this golf course is really tame unless the wind picks up. It makes it a bit more challenging. So look for some wind on Thursday. Friday is pretty calm. We got 9 miles per hour around 10 a.m. So AM, 9 miles per hour. In the afternoon, 4 miles per hour. So if this holds true, Friday is going to be really, really nice. Thursday is going to be a little bit more challenging. So we'll see how that shakes out for wave splits. But keep that in mind. You can always go to the Weather IQ tool, which is free. I think it's free. But you can click the weather icon on the Course Preview Pro and go there. Before we jump into the Stat Model Pro, I do want to say we updated the go to Worldwide Technology Championship. Do this one. Perfect. We updated the tournament summary. So now there's a few more charts, some easier, simplified data, and then the leaderboards down here at the bottom. So if you want to go through any of these guys, you can click on their score. You can pull up their scorecard round by round. It has fairways, green regulation, putts, and their scores. You can also look at their strokes gained, which we don't have. It's all zeros for everything but total strokes gained. And then we do have the traditional stats as well. So you can look through this. It's ironic that total proximity I include in traditional, even though it's not really a traditional stat. But pretty easy way to go through this. You could look at the low scores, like round 1, obviously with some wind. 67 was the low score in round 1 last year. You go to round 2, 61 by Carson Young. Round 3, a 63 by Justin Lauer. Round 4, 63 by Austin Eckroat. So I could just go off of this. We could go look at historical weather, but 67 for the low in round 1 is very high. And then you go look at round 2 with a 61. There's a bunch of birdies. Carson Young, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 birdies. It's a lot. So would encourage you guys to check out the tournament summary and provide some feedback. We can look through this at any point. Like I said, no shot link, so you won't see driving distance or approach shot distributions. So with that being said, we could pretty much keep it simple. I mean, if we want to do 3, maybe we throw in putting. Trying to think through how we want to do this. So we'll go in the time machine for last year. We'll do total strokes gained. We'll do bogey avoidance and birdie or better. We'll do strokes gained putting, and then we'll bump up strokes gained tee to green. It's double counting as blatantly as you can. But let's try to run it. So let me go to here, custom. We'll do tee to green, putting, and total. We'll take off the IQ stat, green regulation. We'll do birdie or better and bogey avoidance. And I think that is it. So let's run with that. We'll do a quick weighted model really fast. So total is the biggest. So we'll do like 35%. And then we'll do 50%. And then we'll try to distribute it evenly. Let's see. Or normalize. Negative. That won't work. 5. Let's do this. Let's do 5, 4, 4, 3, 2.5. Let's normalize that and see if it works. Yeah, pretty good. All right, time machine time. Let's go back to 2024. Let's go to the Worldwide Technology Championship. And this is the leaderboard. Eckroat, Carson Young, Justin Lauer. So right off the bat, Couple good finishes, or a couple good guys in the model that finished well. Max Grieserman, Joe Highsmith, David Lipsky, Nico Echevarria, Sam Stevens, Wesley Bryan, a couple others in here. If we go off the model itself, number 1 was Lucas Glover, believe it or not. And we got Joe Highsmith again, Wesley Bryan. So a pretty good spread. Patton Kizzire missed the cut. He was number 2. Matty Schmid missed the cut. He was number 3. So those would be your disappointing finishes. Let's go back a little bit further and see how that changes things. Yeah, still pretty good. I would say this is even better because it takes out the miscuts of Schmid and Kizzire. So I'll recap this. We got 4 stats in this stat model. So again, go to fantasygolfbag.com, just go to tools, click Stat Model Pro. You can save your models and come back to it at any point. You can open an old model, go to it next year if you want to. I ran a custom on strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained putting, strokes gained total. So we're kind of double counting that a little bit, but bear with me. Birdie or better and bogey avoidance, also kind of double counting strokes gained total a little bit, in a sense at least. And then we went back from 3 months to 4 months. So this is the last 4 months and the last 24 rounds. Pretty simple. And if you go through this model, number 1, Max Grieserman finished 4th. Lucas Glover was 2nd in the model, finished T24. Got a T30, a T30, T14, T20, a 5th, T12, T20, T12. Really, really good. Go down a little bit further in the top 25. We got a T6, a T2, a T6, and another T6. So let's go back. Let's go back one more year. See if that same time frame looks pretty good. The top 5 are not as good. So we got Isaiah Salinda. He had a pretty weak number of rounds. So let's bump that up to 12 men. So Lucas Glover, ironically, in 2023 was also our top guy in the model. He finished T58. Sahith Thagala miscut. Luke List T44. Adam Svensson T44. So those top 5 guys, not great finishes. In your player pool, made the cut. Not the worst, but definitely not like ceiling stuff. Then you got Ludwig Aberg, T10. Taylor Pendrith, T14. Davis Thompson, T14. Bo Hostler, T14. So a good mix here. Like I said, if you go down to the top 25, it's usually a good cutoff. Akshay Bhatia, Chesson Hadley in your top 10. So that's probably your best bet, especially this week with no ShotLink data, which you could do this every week anyways, even with ShotLink data. It just makes it a very simple process. Just kind of eyeballing this. If there's anything we can kind of cut out, like birdie or better, maybe we bump that up. Bump down putting to 15. Birdie or better, 25. Strokes gained total, 30. Bogey avoidance, 25 again. Tee to green, 10. See what that looks like. About the same. Didn't change too much. And you could tinker with the time frames. We could do last 6 months. Run that. So not too bad. And we're getting this out early, so I don't have DK pricing to pick out a couple like top values, but this sounds pretty good. So if we jump out of here to our current week, here are your top guys. I did min rounds of 12. Let's just take that out for now. Without min rounds, Michael Brennan's going to be number 1 because he just won. He's going to be popping for everybody since his strokes gained total is 4. He's getting 4 strokes on the field. The next best is 1.6. So that happens in a 4-round tournament sample. Garrett Higo's number 2, Ben Griffin number 3, Mac Meissner, JJ Spawn, Taylor Montgomery, William Mao, Takumi Kanaya, Patrick Fishburne, and then Wyndham Clark. And I can already tell you there's a few of those guys that are going to be kind of in the 7Ks, maybe high or low 7Ks. Mac Meissner, Taylor Montgomery, William Mao, Takumi Kanaya. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for us to find some values this week. Those guys all check every single box. They look great. And as we go down, just seeing if there's any big names that pop out. Jesper Svensson, like him a lot. Been playing a lot of him. Thorbjorn Olesen, this is a good one for him. Let's see. Matt Wallace likes the coastal courses. So we'll plug Matt Wallace into our player pool for sure. Let's see. Michael Thorbjornsson, even though distance didn't show a big factor, it's still like very easy off the tee. I still think that gives him a bump. Austin Eckroat, Kevin Yu, I like that quite a bit. Jackson Suber and Stephen Fisk. So we'll leave it there for now. But that's a pretty good starting point. Garrett Kiggo, Ben Griffin, Mac Meister, your top three. So I think that'll do it, guys. We don't have a ton to dive into the golf course due to no shot link. So we'll keep it short and sweet for now. Don't have a ton of housekeeping. We still have our fall promo and early bird savings. So you can go to fantasygolfbag.com and get your yearly subscription and be ready for 2026 and saves you $100 right off the bat. Or you can do the fall promo, which is good through the end of this month for $20 a month. So pretty good deal to round out the year. And then we'll keep pumping out some updates as we go into the holidays and into the Sony Open, which will be our first event in the fall. So I think that'll do it, guys. Best of luck this week. We'll be around. We'll be in the Discord. So make sure you join if you haven't already and you're a member of Fantasy Golf Bag. And if you ever have any questions or comments, you can reach out on X or in the Discord DMs. I'm always available. So that'll do it, guys. Best of luck. Enjoy Sunday NFL. You'll probably be listening to this on Monday, so it's over. But best of luck to you anyways. Best of luck right now, live. See ya.